All right. Who here has heard of Pablo Escobar? Okay, a few people. I guess probably Netflix, maybe.
Yeah.
Narcos. Okay. Has anyone heard of, like, I guess the agents that took him down? The American guys. Obviously, the Colombians had a lot into it, but we had two agents that were sent by the DEA. Here recently in September, I think it was the 16th, maybe 17th, Steve Murphy and Javier Pena, which are our guys that they sent after Pablo, actually came to Princeton at the Chuck Athena Center, and they kind of talked about their experience. It was really neat. Steve Murphy is actually from Princeton, the Princeton area. He went to Bluefield State, so that's a cool little fact. He's just a country boy from around here. Took down one of the biggest drug lords uh, ever, really. So, Pablo Escobar. He was born in Rio Negro, Colombia, December 1st, 1949. He grew up with his parents. His dad was a farmer. His mom was a school teacher. So they were, um, especially in Colombia, they were relatively poor. Colombia was already kind of a poor country, so poor family, poor country. He had six siblings, so they went through a lot of struggles. He was really close with his cousin Gustavo, though, even though he had six siblings. Um, in his early life, he was kind of already involved in crime and such. Uh, I guess the struggle kind of put him into that. He stole gravestones and then peddled them off, and then he also did some small time smuggling, like cigarettes, small time contraband like that. And then as he kind of started to grow up, he got into kind of like a more of a thuggish type of lifestyle. He would kind of do dirty deeds for his higher ups, kidnap people and such stuff like that. So his empire, he ended up, you know, starting the Medellin cartel with his cousin Gustavo. It was one of the biggest cartels really ever. At the height of their cartel, they were actually putting out 80% of the world's cocaine, which is a lot. That's like basically a monopoly on a product. They were also at the height, according to Javier and Steve, bringing in, I think, 15 tons of cocaine each day into the U.S. alone, which is a lot. Obviously, a ton, 2,000 pounds, 15 tons. That's a lot of cocaine. Um, their hotspot was Miami. They kind of ran that city. A lot of different cartels had different like hotspots. Like you had the Cali cartel in New York. You had their cartel in Miami. Other cartels in California. Um, they're kind of like saying, I guess, was plato plomo, which is Spanish for money or lead. So that was kind of like the rule they went by. If they couldn't pay you off, then they kind of knocked you out. Because, obviously they had plenty of money to spare. So if they could just silence anybody by just slipping a couple of million, that was easy. If not, then they'd pay the ultimate price. They got to the top, obviously, in a business like that. It's really dirty, so violence, terrorism. The two DEA agents kind of referred to him as a narco terrorist because that's how he worked, narco trafficker. But his kind of main medium of getting power was terrorism. So if there's any maybe politician that stood in his way, that politician might go to public speech one day and then get shot by somebody. Or if there's maybe someone else who's kind of like impending or I guess blocking his product of or way of getting money, they'd always kind of just knock him off and they just kind of disappear. No one could do anything about it because he was so powerful. He almost took over Colombia. He actually had started several civil wars with his own country, killing thousands of cops, multiple thousands of his own countrymen. Let's see, death and aftermath. This is like kind of one of the things that he would do in those civil wars. He would plant dozens of car bombs. This here was actually a specific attack on this hotel, and you see all the destruction. That was a car bomb that I think had 500 kilograms of dynamite in it, which is a lot of explosives. And that was all for the sole purpose of killing a general who he actually didn't kill, just because he didn't like the guy who tried to kill him. Didn't kill him, but he ended up killing 52 civilians in that one car bomb alone, and wounding about 1,000 others. That was just one attack. This was like a regular thing. That's why they call it a civil war in Colombia, is because it was an actual war. By the end of his narco career, he had killed 5,000 or 50,000 of his own countrymen, is what the estimate kind of is roughly at. and over 1,000 cops because he would actually kind of put bounties on their heads, just $100, really cheap. So all these kids in the struggle would just go out and kill a cop, report to like maybe some sketchy area late at night, and then get their pay. He was finally brought down on December 2nd, 1993. The day after his birthday, he was shot on the rooftop of a house somewhere in the Colombian slums. He had been kind of like brought down over time. He only had one Sicario with him. He used to have hundreds. Just died like any other guy. A lot of people have the common misconception that he's like, all these rich, powerful people are like gods and such. But I mean, he was running away, just like anyone would, and they shot him down. It was a Colombian cop that officially shot him, not our guys. That was really important to them, the whole operation, because it was really symbolic. That not an American. It wasn't like America had to go save Colombia, but the Colombians themselves kind of took down their criminal. That picture right there, that's Steve Murphy. So that's our local guy from Princeton, and these are some Colombian cops. I blurred that out. I mean, it's not too graphic, but I figured like just in case. So I just kind of blocked that. So that was kind of like an overview. There's just tons of stories that they told us about at Chuck Mathena Center, really interesting. But I guess what I want you to take away from this is that a lot of times people have the misconception, just kind of like because of the media and like TV shows like Narcos, that like, guys like this are not as bad as they actually were. Obviously, like it's not like they're portrayed as like good people, but you might see kids wearing around like a Pablo Escobar shirt. I mean, what if you saw someone wearing like an Osama bin Laden shirt? That's like, I mean, this guy killed 50,000 of his own people just because he wanted more money, more power. So that's what I want to leave you with.